when Jason's talking about kind of like what we consume, you consume all these competing stories and facts, and you try and synthesize them, try and, figure out what's best for your own life. The reality here is that the idea that there's going to be some sort of central authority that you can turn to for unimpeachable wisdom is just not true. It just doesn't, that does not exist. And there's constant attempts to suggest, though, that there is. So this is the failure of the public health establishment. This is the failure of the legacy news media, that the biggest purveyors of so-called myths and disinformation are often those institutions. So as a result, it does demand that you become a very literate consumer of information. And yeah, sometimes you're going to be led astray, but you should constantly kick the tires, and you should not be enabling a censorship regime to suggest that there's only a certain group of people who should be allowed to convey information, and that others who can convey conflicting information are some sort of disinformation merchants on their face. And there's like a very dangerous impulse built into that. And I kind of see it everywhere, Mikhaila. I feel like that a lot of our institutions are looking to be gatekeepers for who's allowed to even discuss these things.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think part of what I'm hoping to tell my audience is what I believe, which is just don't trust anybody. Like, don't trust anybody. And just because people have a title doesn't mean they're more trustworthy. Just do your research. Unfortunately, like reading from a whole bunch of different sources and doing your research is hard. But I think part of the reason I was sick for so long was because I blindly put my faith in an established, and no wonder it's the medical community. Like, lots of people put their faith in the medical community, but I think it would have been more helpful for me as a kid if I'd just been told, hey, we don't know what's wrong with you, go figure it out. Right. And then I wouldn't have kind of outsourced, my brain to the medical community. And anyway, I agree. Yeah. We shouldn't just be getting information from one group of people. And I think social media is helping that, but the censorship aspect is concerning.
I totally agree.
I think I agree with you 100%. I think you have to understand that it's your health and your body. And when you do visit a doctor, you should ask questions. I think a lot of people think, okay, this is the expert, I can't ask questions. But I think there's a situation, you should ask questions of anyone, any professional. Yeah. If I were to sit on a couch with your dad and he said something to me, I'd be like, okay, but wait, why? You know what I mean? I think you should ask questions.
Right. And if they act like they don't have to explain it to you, that's a huge red flag.
Yeah. And advocate for your own health. I'm 100% there with you. I just worry about, and I know, this is a trigger for our right-wing audience. I'm a trigger for our right-wing audience anyway, because I'm a left-wing guy and I'm a black guy. So, but anyway,
it's just the left.
That's a whole different story. But so I walk in and I'm a trigger. But I'll just say this, that I do fear when it comes to health care. And if we were talking, the thing that I worry about with the term medical establishment is I think sometimes we group doctors in with people like Big Pharma, who have, I think doctors actually want to help people. They actually want to heal people. Probably all, if not most, all of the doctors that you saw were like, how can we help this kid?
Well, I guess except for the doctors who actually are corrupted by Big Pharma.
There are them, but I've known a lot of physicians in my life, and the vast majority of them are not corrupted by Big Pharma. Mm-hmm. I think, and medical researchers are.
Well, they're corrupted a little bit because you get approached, and I have like 2 minutes and I have to run.
Okay.
But I want to answer this first. Because of how it's set up, particularly in America, it's like, okay, you're a doctor, you go through a whole bunch of medical school to try and figure out how to help people, right? And then that medical school it's so influenced by the pharmaceutical companies. It's crazy. Like, you learn this is the disease and this is the drug to fix it, right? And a lot of those courses are paid for by pharmaceutical companies as well. So that's sketchy. But then also, when you're a doctor, you get kickbacks for using certain medications. So it's like, oh, you have depression, here's a plethora of antidepressants. I'm going to use a certain one because there's more of a kickback. Because what difference does it make? They're all kind of the same. So I think the way pharmaceutical companies influence doctors in America in particular is really dangerous compared to other places. Like if you go to Eastern Europe, there are laws that are, not that Eastern Europe is like a great place to be either, but there are laws stopping pharmaceutical companies from giving doctors kickbacks that they don't have here.